Now you know that funny little game called Breath of the Wild? Yeah, of course you do! That silly little game is the most popular one in the franchise by far! Clearly people like this game a lot. However, while it is a solid 8.5 to 9 out of 10, there are some things wrong with this game. One great example of this is a certain shrine that's quite disappointing, to be honest. Especially compared to all the others seen in the game. Because most of them are really fun and creative. So let's have a look at this place to see why it is flawed in multiple ways. Also, don't take this too personal. I like Breath of the Wild, but we also need to look at the not so good things. Now the shrine in question is the Etsukorima Shrine, designated by the trial name Path of Light, and it's actually exclusive to the Champion's Ballad DLC pack. Now this isn't a shrine from the base game. No, those are for the most part great. However, this new DLC shrine is not that dope. And I gotta say, I wasn't even the one to come up with this. I had completely forgotten about this shrine already. It was actually someone in my Instagram DMs who came up with this video idea. Because someone by the name of Pastel Hylian mentioned the shrine because she personally was really disappointed by it. And even listed multiple reasons why. And so, after I looked into it, I responded and actually 100% agreed with her. So, what is wrong with it then? Well, let's have a look at the shrine first. It's found on the Great Plateau on Mount Hylia, and to access it, you must defeat the various enemies that appear on the mountain during the trial. After the last enemy is defeated, the shrine will rise up from beneath the earth, and you're allowed to enter. So the start and introduction to it is actually surprisingly good. There are quite a lot of foes as well, so taking them down can be hard. Clearly everything before the shrine offers some sort of interesting challenge at least. Which, sadly enough, can't be said about the inside of the shrine. Now, as you can imagine, the idea of this place is some sort of light and dark theme, as the name already suggests, which is actually seen more in the game. The Divine Beast over on Death Mountain actually has a similar mechanic going on in some of its rooms, and I gotta say it does work there pretty well. However, here, it doesn't really. As you can imagine, it's dark inside, which forces you to follow light sources such as torches or the glowing walls on the shrine to find your way through. But when entering, that narrative kind of falls apart, because the route is extremely obvious and straightforward. And remember, we have seen this before. Now the reason why that's relevant is because Nintendo loves to explain things step by step, starting on a low difficulty with no stakes, and raising the bar as you go along. However, since this idea isn't new to the player, it shouldn't apply here, but they do it anyways, which makes the start quite pointless. This isn't your first rodeo after all, and sadly enough, the entire shrine never gets really difficult. The best way to describe this place is predictable and not a threat. In the beginning, you go through a small corridor, ending up in a large chamber with 7 lasers. The first 3 are stationary lasers firing vertically from the ceiling. The next 3 are also stationary, but are firing horizontally across the walkway at roughly head level. Seems scary, right? All those deadly lasers being set up to take you out. Well, in reality, they aren't, since you obviously see them in the dark, and all you have to do is duck and walk underneath them, and dodge them. However, there is a final laser that's also firing horizontally, which moves up and down. So, does that offer more of a challenge? Well, no. Yet again, very predictable and nothing serious that you have to pay a lot of attention to. The worst it will probably do is slow you down since you gotta wait for it sometimes. Now the next chamber has a large number of torches scattered around 4 large rotating cylindrical columns. And each of these has 2 or 3 walls covered with spikes attached to them. But again, very obvious. The torches make it too much of a dead giveaway, and the light emanating from the torches even reflects off the spikes on the walls. So of course you know what's up right away. Actually, all of this is quite ironic for a shrine that focuses on the concept of wandering around through the dark. Although I will say some hidden stuff in this shrine is very well executed and hard to find. If you don't know what you're looking for at least. Now the third chamber has 3 sets of small openings, each with 4 nozzles that spew out jets of fire lining the opening. Which again, you can see from a mile away, and it's incredibly easy to get past it. You just have to wait sometimes. It doesn't offer any challenge, to be honest. The entire shrine is ridiculously easy. Even the short combat section after this is forgettable. Although I will give them credit for one thing. There are 2 more Guardian Scouts in hiding, waiting within the shrine, and that element actually works really well. However, in general, the shrine disappoints me. And since I didn't come up with the idea for this video, I'm not the only one apparently. But can you change it in certain ways to actually make it better? Well, yes, and doing so is actually quite easy, since everything that we need is already in the mini dungeon. It's just put together in the wrong way. So it's time to have a look at this mediocre shrine to see what we can change to improve it. First things first, everything needs to be in a different order. It shouldn't start off with the lasers, because that on its own doesn't offer an interesting challenge. Or a good starter room even. What Nintendo should have actually done is start the entire shrine with the combat section, because we can use this to sort of adjust the theme of the dungeon. We are going to turn it into more of a combat shrine, because our new first room with 1 obvious Guardian Scout and 2 hidden ones is perfect for introducing the new gimmick. Hidden enemies that are waiting for you in the dark, and when you don't pay attention and walk past a certain point, they will strike. This whole idea works so incredibly well, mostly because those scouts are so small, and when they aren't attacking you, the only thing you see is the blue eye, which is hard to see because of the shrine wall colors, but it isn't impossible to notice. So what we are doing is introducing the Guardian Scout right away in a very low difficulty setting, making it a simple task for the player, and after that, they know what they are in for. However, after this, the real difficulty will be coming around the corner, ramping up the pressure bit by bit, because the room that comes after our small battle is the one with the lasers. But this time we introduce 2 hidden scouts. They're placed in the back with their bodies not glowing, but their eyes are still on. So you can sort of see them, but still they should be placed in such a way that you can obviously see them, but there's always a chance you won't. If you ignore them and don't shoot them with an arrow, they will activate and attack you as soon as you're past the first horizontal laser, putting you in a tough spot with 2 scouts shooting at you. But darn it, this is a DLC challenge, which was made for the best of the best players, offering a real challenge. So grow up and deal with this new higher difficulty. Or, you know, if it's too much, just add 2 small walls in between the 4 lasers so you at least have some place to take shelter while your movement is still limited. This would already make this section a million times better. And you could even use the moving lasers in the back to possibly kill the Guardian Scouts, since they always try to keep their distance. The entire section is so much better now, with a real challenge being added that even allows you to use the environment against them. Now for the next section, we will actually use the portion of the fire hoses. And again, Guardian Scouts are there. They are placed right behind the wall of the first row of fire hoses, activating as soon as you get past the flames. Now, they're not tightly tucked around the corner so they can't attack you from the back, but more in front of you, behind the wall. So as soon as you get past the fire obstacle, you'll be thrown into battle right away. This doesn't make it too hard for the player while still surprising them, because before getting past those fire jets, you can't really see them. So this section is again slightly harder than the previous one, and it's supposed to be like that. You need to build up the difficulty in any level or game you make, and normally Nintendo is king at this. Now for our final room, we get to the big challenge. The rotating spike pieces, where we again fight some scouts, and this time there are 3. However, instead of you walking in and triggering them at some point, they will activate and start moving as soon as you enter the room, turning the whole place into a trap-filled battleground where the scouts shoot at you and you have to fire back with your bow, all while dodging the spikes as well as using them to take cover from enemy fire, creating some sort of hectic arena of death. Personally, this idea reminds me of some sort of PvP arena mode in a game, like in World of Warcraft, but this time a Zelda version. This would make the whole shrine so much better and more fun, to be honest. Just turn the entire shrine into a no-lights arena with some traps here and there acting as a fun gimmick or twist. All of this works so much better than what Nintendo ended up making, only using combat at the very last room. So what do you think of my little dungeon redesign? I would personally title it the Mystical Arena of Darkness. Do you think I improved it, or only made it worse? Or maybe I was wrong from the very start and there was never anything wrong with the place and Wily is just a whiny little man that doesn't know anything about game design? Just let me know in the comments. Personally, I love the arena concept, but I would love to hear your opinion. And if you have any video ideas as well, you can of course send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram name is Dr.Wily YT, and if that doesn't work, you can always send me a message through Twitter, which is at Dr.Wily Twitter, or just through the Wily's Warriors Discord server. A link to that server can be found in the description. And don't forget to subscribe, of course.